There we go. Hey, Shaggy SoCal with 2Old4Forza, and sorry, always just need to resync the headset with Twitch so that sound and the motions of my mouth kind of line up. Otherwise, I look like one of those old '60s poorly dubbed Godzilla movies. Anyhow, random reference there. So heading into final week 6, the final two races of season 44 in the Falcon XB. We're going to be running Indy GP, but when we say Indy GP, it's the version of the road course that IndyCar has been running, and actually I think NASCAR has now started running as well. Followed by then an old favorite of mine, one of my favorite road courses, Road America. But we're going to start at Indy GP first, and like always, I'll do a couple of hot laps, kind of talk a little bit there, then slow it down, do a track walk, so to speak, track walk where I'll kind of point out what I'm looking for, what I think the car is going to do. And then I'll do a mock race with what I think is the race length, at least what we've got estimated right now. Part of this is to kind of validate if that's really the number of laps we're going to do. Hopefully, then it sets up some situations with the AI that I can kind of show some passing situations, what may or may not work. But again, this is mainly how I practice. I usually don't do much else between now and the race day, so bear with me. I ran a few laps on control last night, ran about 2 laps on the wheel just to get a difference, but let's go ahead and get into the test drive. So you might think the Indy GP circuit is very flat, and I guess, in certain portions it is on the straightaways, but of course we've got the banking in the oval turns, but there's actually quite a bit of elevation change, or at least a little bit of elevation change on the infield. Right here, going up over the hill here. Whoa, that's a little wide and slidey. Quick little dab of the brake, get the car turned. Now, normally I would say you'd go all the way out to the left side if you were doing the classic F1 version, but nope, we're going to skip right through the chicane here and onto the Holman Straight. I think it's called the Holman Straight. Fourth gear, looking for the banners, downshift twice, second gear. Just clip that. That was a little too late. Nice little bouncing left-right section here. Really don't need to brake at all. Just ease off the throttle to help the car rotate. And roll back in. The edge. And now out of the infield, back up onto the short chute between 1 and 2, or Indy 1 and 2. Heavy braking here, down to second gear. That's a little better than what I've been doing. And then this you can do in first or second, depending on your preference. A little oversteery there. We'll talk about this last turn, about what the car might do, transitioning back onto the front straightaway. We'll do one more lap, and I'm just gonna try and shut up a little bit. What I want you to pay attention to as I'm coming out of certain corners, as I'm braking, is listen to what the tires are doing. Got to work on that turn. All right, let's do the slow track walk here. So you're going to be in fourth gear, screaming down the front straightaway. Uh, Braking line when it goes red is actually pretty accurate. You want to be on the brakes at that point. But what I'm going to be looking for, and I'm about to let it go out of view. Oop, wrong button. Yes. How long have I had this wheel? Let's back it up. What I'm looking for is I'm going down the front straightaway. Unfortunately, not too many references or any. Uh, I'm hard pressed, at least on this version. Really don't see any braking boards on the left side, which would be really helpful. So if I can't see the braking line, I'm actually looking for, and let me pull up the controller so I can move the view around. So that Forza banner that's off behind the fence there, that's right straight ahead of us under the rearview mirror, that's what I'm looking for as just kind of the additional something on my peripheral. If I can't see the braking line, but I should be able to see that, that's what I'm waiting to go out of view from hood view, and that's what I'm kind of also using to brake. I'm at a point where I'm probably relying more on that than the braking line itself, as far as to know when to get on the brakes. But that's what I am looking for. So as that goes out of view, brake, 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 down to second gear. I don't have a definitive turn-in point. I'm kind of at this point, I'm looking at the curbing there and just trying to get the car slowed down so that I can let off when I ease off the brakes or let off the brakes and turn in second gear. I'm trying, ideally, I'd love to be able to clip the curbing late because I want to try and take as straight a line across here as I can. So still second gear. It'll be a little lift off the throttle to get into this corner. Use a lot of the curbing there, roll back in, let the car go out to the right side. Gonna hug the curb here, follow it as long as I can, and then let it, just kind of let the car come out. This is the other one that there's no place, there's nothing I can point to and say, hey, when you see this off to the side or that off to the side, you do need to do a little bit of a check brake. So in looking at the braking line, if you've gotten your momentum right, um, this line will be red coming out of this turn, and before it turns red, it'll go yellow for a short stretch before it turns red for the next turn. That's about where you want to. When you hit that yellow section, it's about where you just want to just give a little bit of a brush to the brake. You just want to scrub a little bit of speed, get some weight on the front of the tires so you can turn on the next corner. Again, I've got nothing. There is just nothing out here to either side that I can say as you pass this. So it's kind of done by feel, but a little bit by the braking line. But you know, it is kind of about midway out. Maybe I'm looking at the curbing. You can maybe use the curbing on the left side. That when you're about halfway along the curbing on the left, maybe that's a good reference. Um, Whatever works for you. But you will need to do a quick brush of the brake to scrub the speed down because this corner, this is one I'm going to notoriously, I'm going to miss the apex or I'm going to carry too much momentum and go out wide. But ideally, getting through here, you want to hug it. You want to hug the curbing. Now, on the classic circuit that we've run many times, usually the exit is you're going to go all the way out to the left side curbing, and just kind of take that nice large arc because you're going to continue going left as you go into that little loop. We don't have that. This exit is going to take us out. We're going to cut across the chicane onto the Holman Straight. So ideally, as you're rolling back into the throttle, you want to only ideally you only want to be out half track, mid track. You don't really want to be all the way out to the left. If you get all the way out to the left, you're probably just gonna, and who knows, I'll probably do this during the race, but you'll want to bring it back at least enough so that you can get through the chicane with minimal issues. But ideally, if you can get it to mid track, you can see the curbing for the first part of the chicane. Second gear, getting up to third, go ahead and run over this curbing here, and you can go ahead and run over this curbing here. Um, Not that I've just noticed it on the out maps. I don't know that I'll be using it, but if you look straight ahead, you can see the water tower in the distance. As far as lining up, hey, what's an ideal line through there? If you're set right and you're going to clip left to clip right and you're pointed straight towards the water tower, you should be good to go. Exiting out, you can go all the way out to the left side if you want, but I would say just start bringing it back across. Third gear up to fourth gear. what I use as an additional reference with the braking line is, again, it's going to be these black banners down here on the left side, and it is, which one is it? Again, it looks so much different at speed. It's this one right here. So it's, again, things look different at speed. So when I get past the pedestrian bridge, it's the second black banner is what I'm using as the additional reference for this left-handed turn off the Holman straight. So down in the second gear, this is the other place where the Indy circuit differs from the classic Grand Prix circuit. Now, I don't know on race night, excuse me, how much of those tire barriers are going to be there and how much aren't. The classic GP circuit, you're turning a little sooner. It's not as severely sharp of a left-hander. But for the GP circuit, it really is. So this is going to be a really good braking zone, especially if you can set up a pass. Brake, 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 second gear. As I wallow in second gear, usually I think I'm letting off the brakes as I get past the final set of banners on the right. But I'm really looking at just trying to get the car turned in. And I might even clip that curbing just a little bit. Again, you can see you can straddle the white line quite a bit on exit. Try and keep the car to the left side. I'm up in second gear. Then we hit the rhythm section. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to be, if I do it right, I'm just going to be easing off the throttle, get the car in, rolling back in the throttle, clip that curbing late, off the throttle, turn in, clip the curbing late, try and keep the car to the left side, off the gas, maybe a brush brake depending on how much speed I'm in, carrying, clip the curbing at the apex there, and roll back into the throttle. All second gear. Out to the left side, up to third, bring the car back across. Usually I want to be right at the edge of the curb where it transitions onto the oval, out to the wall. This version, and again, there's two different versions as far as daytime running here at Indy. There's the sunny version that I'm on right now. I think there's an overcast one. And again, because the lighting's different, I see different things. The easiest thing to spot lining up here is the white tent just on the other side of the fence as far as getting lined up, trying to look for things to correlate with the braking line. You're going to brake just before you get to it. Now, the other thing that I noticed, it's easier to see when it's overcast, and I'm going to back up right. So if you notice on the fence itself, you can see the extra heavy duty chains where the cable ties are met with the lengths, and I'm sure there's a better technical term for it. But you can see it looks a little different there than, say, the fencing normally does. In the overcast version, when I was running laps when I ran my couple test laps last night, I was looking for the first one here. So for me, it's hard to spot in the sunny conditions, but usually the braking is right as I'm getting past that. So again, your mileage may vary. Your eyes may be better or worse than mine, but that's what I'm using to brake here. For me, it's a second gear turn. I'm notoriously late on this turn. I carry too much speed in, but ideally what I'm trying to do is get the car turned in. You can use a bit of this inside curbing. Get the car maybe to half track. I'll probably be all the way over the left most of the time, but really I want to get the car back over to the right as quickly as I can. Setting up almost to, I guess this is the penultimate turn. I always get that confused. Turn 13 here this is again where you have choices. You can do it in second, you can do it in third. It really depends on what you like to feel in the car. If you put it, not second or third, first or second. Sorry, it's late. If you do it in second, again, the car's going to be, since it's going to be higher gear, lower RPM, the car's going to be a bit more relaxed, going to be a bit freer. So you're really going to want to make sure you get your braking done right, because you're not going to get any help from the gearing if you go in too quick. If you put it in first, again, higher RPM range, it's going to put the car a bit more on its toes, so that as you back out of the throttle, the gearing is going to really help keep weight on the front of the car. The car's going to turn in easier. Personally, I think the couple laps I've done, I'm still undecided. I think we'll just have to see what I do during the race. I tend to like, in these situations, the lower gear with the higher RPM, just because I get a little bit more, a little bit more point on the turn in. The car will turn in easier. So, but ultimately, regardless of what gear, you're going to clip the curbing and set up for the final turn. I think when you're at speed, this final turn, the game wants you to have really be hugging the inside of the line. I think with this car and just its nature with the back end, you want to give yourself a little bit of room. In fact, you might even set up a little bit wider unless you're worried about someone trying to get on the inside. The reason being is if you set up a little wider, you can kind of reduce how much turn in and how quickly the weight transfers. It'll ease the car through. You might be able to stay on full throttle easier. I'll be playing with this in the race. I might even do. Actually, I should set that up because I did that on my own. But what tends to happen, and I'll go back and just do a quick demo on this. As you're turning in and as the weight starts to transfer and you're on full throttle, you're in high second gear. You're starting to shift to third. But right about here, depending on how much steering you have in and how quickly you've turned it in, and when the car finally takes a set, if you're at full throttle, you may feel the back tires start to spin up. And either you just need to crack the throttle a little bit to get the back under control. You might need to throw a little counter steer in on it. The main thing is that pay attention to it, because if you don't do anything, the car's going to do something you don't like. And let's see if I can demonstrate that. I won't be able to demonstrate it there because of the wall, but let's get back over here a little bit. Oh, it's Rallycross with Shaggy. See if I can set this up. So that's what you got to watch out for out of that turn. So if you're going to take that narrow line and you're going in and you're feeling the weight transfer, the back end's going to want to step out. So you either need to, when you do the upshift, maybe you just crack the throttle real quick and go right back on. You're just trying to keep the back tires from spinning up. As you notice, I barely had any steering in on it as well, and it still did that. So that's just going to be just something to watch out for. But then if you get it right, you're back out in the front stretch, third gear, fourth gear, and you finish the lap and you start the next one. So that's the track walk for Indy GP. This will be a fun one. It's again, it's got kind of both of these tracks actually. It's a good combination of on the circuit itself, where you got a couple of nice straightaways that hopefully you can set runs up and we can get set up passes. But there's also rhythm sections where it is about managing the weight transfer of the car through the corners. So with that, let's go ahead and finish the test drive. And let's get into the race. Excuse me, that was rude. So what initial guesstimate is 21 laps. So we're going to actually see how long that takes me. My thought is it might be a lap less, but we'll do a quick check of that at the end. Let's go ahead and start the race. And as always, it is the same opponents I got in front of me, same time delay. So starting up front is that historic road racing division that this Falcon sits in. That the AI is much slower than I am in it. So they're going to start up front. They're going to go get some distance on the rest of us. Second group is, I believe they're the historic drag racers. Same era cars, just that instead of being designed for road racing, they're designed for drag racing. So they will be great in a straight line. They will be very fun to watch in the corners, especially if we've got a couple of Ford Fairlanes through there. And then starting at the back, or not starting at the back, starting in front of me is the Bertha Grand Prix division. So again, classic F1 cars. These guys will be really fast. The only way I'm going to get ahead of them is if they happen to get caught in traffic, and I will start 5 seconds behind them. And at this point, then it is just let's see where I finish and see what traffic I encounter, and go from there. Everybody's got to do a quick stop, though we have no requirements of when. Again, our Thursday night races, we have to make our quick stops between 10 and 15 minutes, not 10, 15 minutes, 15 and 25 minutes on the race timer. Typically for me, I'll do it about halfway, just to keep things simple for me, because you know I'm a simple man. All right, down to second gear. Let's see if I get this right. Nope, gonna push cold tires. Yeah, that's what I'll blame, cold tires. Little lift to the throttle, brush brake, turn it in, slowly roll back in. And I'm not, again, not with this car, I'm not really ever, it's rare that I'm committing back to full throttle before the apex. It's usually I'm waiting till I'm past the apex and I'm sure the car's not going to start rotating extra on me. And I talk too much and I miss shifts. That there, a little bit of wheel spin. Just ease off the throttle, back on, ease off, go back on. And even then, I'm not quite getting back to full throttle until I'm out of the final corner of those left rights. On, look for the white tent. Oh, that was late. Still salvaged it. Again, you do have a little bit more room on exit. You know, you can cross over the painted point there that leads to the grass, but don't get in the grass. If I go out a little bit too wide, I've got to do a little bit more of a steering there. Listen to that supercharger. I'll be able to get by him in the corners. It's just then I got to block him severely in the straights. Ooh, that was almost a time penalty, and I will take that. So that would probably be a time penalty, maybe even one of those massive 2-second ones for passing off course. You go all the way out wide here. It's just a little bit more severe of an initial turn in. So if you can keep it mid-track and straighten that out and make sure life a little bit easier. Really? I gotta make hay here because I'll get enough distance by the time we get back to the front straightaway. My questionable racecraft pass will be moot. sure you all heard the driving advice before. The car's going to go where you look, so try and look as far ahead as possible. When you're braking for a turn, look for that apex. When you get to the apex, look for your corner exit. As you're going down the straightaway, as you get towards your braking zone, look for where you're going to be turning in at. A little bit late. Another one. Be careful how quickly you get back on the gas. You might lose the back end a little bit there. Ooh, I almost cut that too much. Dirty. I was like, oh no, I shouldn't draft it. Excuse me. That's better. You can use quite a bit of that curbing, that chicane. Excuse me. That'll buff out. Trying to catch up to the F1 car. Ooh, this is dicey. Oh, very dicey. Oh, very, very dicey. Oh, you're there. I'm trying to leave you room. was almost too early on the turn, man. My side, is it possible? Well, for me it was. Very narrow here. That's not the quickest way through. Again, if the back starts to slide out and then I got to do counter steering out of that corner, that's going to cost me. It's going to cost me time. How much? Hard to say until I'm in a race and that happens. So I'm going to try and avoid that as much as I can. Oh, you're going to go wide. Thank you very much. I'm going to leave it. Okay, yeah, I'm clear. Yeah, if I can see the back quarter of the car in the rear view, then I'm pretty sure there's room to move over. That is a huge gaggle of cars. And yes, gonna get dicey in the S's. Not. I want to stick to the outside here. Depending on how quick you get into that one, that might be a turn. Instead of looking for the crossover, if you got somebody on the inside and you're on the outside of that turn, it might be better just to try and out momentum them on the outside. Ooh. Going to be tough for me to try and practice passing in turn one just because of the speed disparity. Either the drag racers are going to outrun me, so I can't set up a draft pass, or I'm so much quicker than the historic road racers that I can't set up the kind of pass into one that we'll probably end up doing. But again, you get a good run out of here. Yeah, you come all the way over. Anyone in the pits? Okay, so I'm actually going to pit. Yeah, Shaggy SoCal, box. We'll pit at the end of lap 10 here because I don't want to necessarily sit out here and hot lap for 3 or 4 laps. Let's just go in, get the pit done, fall back into traffic, and see where things go. A little too greedy on the curb. Pit lane entry here. It kind of reminds me of Spa in that you're going to, instead of taking the normal turn, you're just going to kind of brake where you normally would, but you're just going to go wide and in. Now, here's just floor it. Just floor it. The first time I did the pit entry, go ahead and floor it. You're going to get to just about where it turns to where you're going to start thinking maybe I should brake. No, just keep your foot in it. It's going to catch you right before you would need to start braking to turn if it didn't. So yeah, just go ahead and floor it. Save yourself. So if it doesn't do that, then that might be a little bit of a gap that you make up on. Pit out. The one thing you'll notice when you go to pit out, you're going to see a diagonal line on the track going out that way. That is actually the pit in line for the Indy 500. I would not use that as like the pit line stay to the left of it. So I would just go straight up here. And let's see, where do we want to brake? Well, you want to brake before the turn. Certainly, if you don't have anybody around you, yeah, maybe you can exit early. But I would just say, just keep it to the right all the way until you get to turn 1. All right, let's see. Wow. Okay, so the F1 cars have been having a little bit of trouble. I need to catch them as quick as I can. Because once they clear the traffic, they're gone. Whoops. He's just going to come flying by me here on the left side. Or maybe not. Maybe not. I'll leave. Nope, there he is. Okay. Missed that turn up. Hopefully, because I should catch that Charger heading down the front straight away, and I might be able, or maybe not. All right, I'm going to go slightly defensive, but this straightaway is so freaking wide. Good, yeah. You deal with that Dodge Charger. Make some hay on the F1 car in front of me. So I think the one that stayed out, that was behind me when I pitted, is probably going to win. He's probably gotten out in clean air and is just smashing the lap times. Again, I'm really not turning that last turn. I'm really not trying to. I'm only trying to put enough steering in to get out of the corner without causing the fronts to start pushing or the rears to start sliding out under the torque. So I may not be able to follow the racing line exactly, at least what the suggested line is. I kind of have to use what, excuse me, 3 wide. Can we go 3 wide through the chicane? No. I think it's getting less and less dense. It's only a matter of time before the Mercedes behind me gets clean air and blows past me like I'm standing still. So again, best passing while we're kind of in no man's land here. Best place to pass. I mean, obvious passing places are obvious. You get a really good run down turn 1. You can start pulling alongside. Good braking here. Again, through these 2 corners, just look for people going wide and see if you can do, some crossover attempts. Same thing here. This braking, someone goes wide, and you can sneak underneath them. Into the back straightaway. Chicane, yeah, you might be able to go side by side through there, but you both better, give each other respect. And setting up the run down the Holman Straight is another great place to set up a pass if you can make it stick. And also a great place to look for crossovers. And crossovers galore through here. So just pay attention to what the car's doing in front of you. And if they look like they're going to go wide, see if you can sneak underneath them. This one, again, you can try a crossover, but depending on the situation, sticking it to them on the outside and just going around the outside might work as well. It's kind of like, it was kind of similar to Sonoma, the final hairpin at Sonoma, where I was finding it was actually better to stick the pass on the outside because you could maintain momentum a lot easier, and especially if you could pinch your opponent to really committing to that tighter line. They couldn't get back to power as quickly because the back end steps out. Hold them off. Just hold them off until I get there. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. For the undercut here. Go a little bit wide. I'm just going to work with it. Though I think that opened the door. Nope. Good. Again, AI, I'm not good through the chicane, so I didn't really hold them up. Here comes the Mercedes. Focus forward. Oh, that was late. As soon as I start to feel the back end wanting to step out, it's just opening the steering up a little bit. Usually all you need. My only hope, again, I know there's no way I'm going to catch first at this point. It's just, can I stay in second? I think second's going to be tough to hold, and third might be tough as well because I can see the two gold dots behind me. I only hope that, oh, the leader's pitting. Oh, this just got very, nope, I was going to say it just got very interesting. No, it didn't. He's out ahead. I'm not going to catch him. The undercut did not work. So my only hope is that the historic drag racers are just enough of a nuisance to let me pull some distance on second, on the other two F1 cars. And I don't think at this point we're going to catch. I don't know if the pace that we're running that we're going to catch the back of the field where lap traffic might play in my favor, but we'll do what we do. Nope. Okay, so Mercedes just got into third place. Really messed that up. Bumpy bumpies, making that transition back onto the oval. A little bit late, I think. That wasn't too bad. If you notice through that section, as far as how much throttle I'm using, it's pretty constant with just a couple fluctuations here or there. If I can find that balance where I can keep fairly consistent throttle that minimizes the weight transfer front to rear and keeps the back end nice and happy. when I get it wrong there. 3.9 in 3 seconds in front, 7.6 behind. Another almost 2/10. See if I can find any more time. Well, I can still set clean laps. I'm surprised. I would have thought that. I'm guessing that's the Ferrari in front of me. Well, it's red, so it's probably a Ferrari. I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought I would have started losing ground to him. Ooh, I keep messing that up. It's in gear this time. That's not the quickest way through that corner. We're kind of holding steady. 2 laps to go. 33 minutes. Yeah, 20 laps is probably going to be the race. But since it's 21, I might have a shot at first. We're catching the back of the field. Now it's the historic road racers, so their straight line won't be too much of a hurdle to overcome. But hopefully... Hopefully, it really depends where it catches the slower traffic. It's probably going to get by this guy pretty easily because it'll be on the front stretch. Oh, don't hit the wall. Okay, last lap. Gonna hold him up. Gonna wreck him. The Mustang. Watch out, they're lethal. Goes for the inside move. They make contact. How ruthless do I want to be? I'll be gentle. Now I got to deal with the Charger in front of me. That'll probably catch getting onto the front straightaway. Maybe I can use him as a pick. What we got? Oh, what do you know? Neener, neener, neener. Ford v Ferrari. Ford wins. So that's Indy GP. You know the Indy cars version of the Indy GP in the Ford Falcon XB. I'm a poet and I don't know it. So race time on that race, 21 laps, 37:05. It might get dropped to 139. Yeah, Matt might drop it a lap. I would say, at least 20 laps, maybe 21. Depends on what he wants to do. But yeah, that's Indy GP. So I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll probably be back on, and we'll do Road America, and hopefully then you guys got some stuff to watch and think about as you practice. So with that, I'm gonna end the stream here, and we'll see you in a little bit. Happy racing.